Today in the news, will the Soviet Union exist? A view of the process taking place in Novogayovo. The president of Russia met with his local representatives, Baku and Yerevan, capitals of one conflict. The Afghan Mujahedin are discussing negotiations in Moscow, and the Cossacks are swearing loyalty to the fatherland. So the events yesterday in Novogayovo were very rich in events, and there was a lot of commenting going on throughout the press in the world. Foreign observers noted that the non-ratification of the Union Treaty might be quite distant. The political situation is changing rapidly, and this might stimulate Republican leaders to occupy a waiting position. And they might want to shift the burden for the decision to their parliamentarians. Here's the briefing that took place in Moscow. The resolutions of the State Council have been such as to recommend that the Supreme Soviets ratify the treaty. As for yesterday's meeting of the State Council, there were discussions as how to call the former, or what to call the former USSR. The abbreviation in Russian is now SSG, meaning the Union of Sovereign States. Why do you consider that it was did not work out, the ratification of the Union Treaty in Novogayovo? I think this was strictly technological in nature. We should have published the draft of the treaty. Who of the Republican leaders were for ratification? Well, Boris Yeltsin, for example, was ready to sign. Mr. Akayev also was ready. Everything depends now on the Supreme Soviets. Whether we do it a week earlier or a week later, that doesn't mean anything. Twice now in Novogayovo, we have had these discussions on the Union Treaty take place behind closed doors. The Republican parliaments have been able to discuss the draft, and the people need to see the draft of the text, which might be regulating their life from now on. This is, after all, a quite new draft. This is not going to be a fifth Soviet constitution. Instead, it will be replaced by the Union Treaty and the Declaration of Rights and Freedoms. This will be a confederated commonwealth of states, which means that the center will not have much power. In an organizational sense, the Soviet Union will become more like Switzerland than like the United States. The republics will themselves be able to resolve their own problems, and the leaders of the republics will bear the responsibility. So there's not going to be any more union taxes or union property. There will be Republican armed units. Evidently, the participants of the events in Novogayovo are more interested in the idea of creating the union rather than in the specific points. Yeah, the goal here is to create a signable treaty. All parties have a lot of work to do in working through all of the various points in the treaty, from creating a unified body of armed forces all the way up to and including cultural organizations. Also, what sort of flag will there be? What sort of national hymn? The center will remain as before in Moscow. People are concerned with the results of the meeting. The London Times has noted that they did not conclude an agreement and there were problems with the defense budget. ABC in America said that the meeting did not produce results. Libération in France noted that the Caucasian republics had boycotted the meeting, and the hope was expressed that the Ukraine might ultimately sign the treaty. In Tokyo, it was noted that a number of the republics had quite differing approaches. Nevertheless, Sankei Symbol, the Japanese newspaper, noted that there was an agreement to the effect that the functions of the central government would nevertheless be maintained. Now some news from the republics. Yeltsin received, for the first time in 3 months, his own local representatives. And so they got to know each other. The regional representatives of President Yeltsin are now visiting the White House. They're having a difficult time since they don't have the real power that the former city councils had and the regional councils had. And their problems will increase to the degree that groceries begin disappearing from the stores. So this is not a matter of a single one-stage reform. As far as foreign aid, much of which has been stolen heretofore, much of it will be transported in the future by army units. To promote local reform, we need, aside from heroism, we also need real power. The real levers of power, such as were formerly had by the first secretary or the regional secretary, such levers no longer exist, of course. And this makes our activities more complex and produces quite opposing results, since we don't have a worked-out mechanism. So it does appear to me that we have two possibilities. Either this institution will disappear, or it will be strengthened by certain specific legal decisions. Or it's possible we will have a transformation where the president will become the head of the administration. Nevertheless, the president considers that reforms are necessary and that there be a degree of confidence in the government. In Baku today, we had a special session of the Azerbaijan Parliament. Here was a political meeting with thousands of people, and the Parliament has started a special session which is linked to the situation in Nagorno-Karabakh. Here's a minute of silence for those who died in the explosion of the military helicopter. The president of Azerbaijan, Ayaz Mutalibov, called upon the Azerbaijani people to show courage in this difficult hour. We did not begin this war, and nevertheless we are ready to search out a compromise, he said. The chief demand of the opposition has been accepted. A national council has been created created. All the 50 deputies in his councils are freed from their normal work. The parliamentarians are examining the status of Nagorno-Karabakh as an autonomous region, its relationship to Armenia, and the elimination of troops from the Ministry of Internal Affairs from the territory of Azerbaijan. We have just learned that the Azerbaijani parliament has decided to eliminate the autonomous status of Nagorno-Karabakh and likewise to change the name of the regional center. Here is news from Yerevan in Armenia. The leadership in Armenia has expressed sympathy for the relatives of those who perished in the helicopter explosion, which also included observers and crew members. At the same time, the document notes the increasing complexity of the situation, and it is noted that it is a very tense situation. In the last day, things have been relatively calm in Nagorno-Karabakh. At the outskirts of Stepanakert, there were shots heard.